Hello and welcome to my channel. This is my first video where I'm going to be doing kind of a series now, just to see how people feel about it, where I will do the season that's coming up astrology wise, as well as the month predictions video, and then I'll keep doing the new moon and full moon. So those will all be consistent things that I'll continue to do and see kind of how it works with everybody and what people, think, or if they're into it and receptive. For those of you that have watched me before, welcome back. I'm really happy that you're still watching my content and that you appreciate it and like sharing this energy with me. And for those of you where this is your first time, welcome. What we do is basically I will read notes for astrology notes that I've taken based on what's going to be happening. This is going to be for Virgo season, but I also do it for the monthly predictions, and I'll also do it for the new moon and the full moon for the month. So these are just like notes that I've taken. And I will, read them and explain them, and then we'll do the pick a card where you can pick your deck. Today I used affirmations because I feel like, affirmations help me a lot. I'm a true believer of affirmations, so this could just be something to kind of like keep in mind throughout Virgo season about like what exactly you're looking for questions with, if that makes sense. So I have 4 of them here, and if you don't want to hear the notes, you can go straight ahead to the pick a card. I'll have that in the comments below. And yeah, let's just go ahead and get started. Thanks. Okay, with the sun in Virgo, you will be more likely to be detail-oriented and discriminating with your time. You're going to be feeling more like you want to make a schedule. For a lot of people, they're going back to school, so it makes sense that you'd be worried about schedules and things like that. So Mercury is also going to be in Virgo for a while, and then on September 5th, it'll move into Libra. So for a little bit, the communication we're feeling will also reflect the sun, if that makes sense. So, ego, personality, as well as communication and learning, they're all going to be on the same page. But something to watch out for is perfectionism, like worrying a little bit too much about what other people are doing, or maybe being down on yourself for not communicating the most effectively and things like that. Like Virgos kind of don't expect themselves to be human almost, so just keep that in mind during this time, that your expectations for yourself and others might be a little high, so just like bring them down a little bit. Hygiene is going to be super important right now, so more people might actually start taking the pandemic more seriously. We'll see though, because also sometimes people can kind of like be a little bit defensive or hypercritical, so that could also impact it to where people are kind of like being a little less likely to help each other. Virgos are also very helpful. They love helping their friends and family and stuff like that. So I feel like for a lot of people, they will be during Virgo season kind of wanting to help each other and help each other out. I'll talk a little bit more about other things that will be happening though that could interfere with that type of energy. So we'll see how things go. There's still 5 planets that are in retrograde this month. Jupiter will be going direct on the 12th of September, but Mars will go into retrograde on the 9th. So for a little bit, it'll be 6 planets in retrograde, and then Jupiter will go direct. Jupiter has been in retrograde for months now, and it's been a time period for people to kind of like figure out what exactly it is they want in your life and in their lives, and being more authentic to who they are and stuff like that. So as long as you've been doing the internal work during this time, all the action you've been taking will bring new opportunities for you. And as long as you're being authentic to yourself, you're going to be able to embrace these new opportunities. But here's the catch. Whenever Mars goes into retrograde, that's going to affect our actions. So this will be a time to analyze the actions you've been making, and you're going to feel some resistance from the universe. I know I'm already feeling it. I don't know about you guys, but I'm already feeling a little bit of resistance from the universe and from people in general. But try not to get frustrated, because this is the universe just kind of like doing its thing, and we're all meant to kind of like reflect at this time and figure out what exactly is going on. Since this planet is also about taking action, it's also the planet of war. So it's been in Aries for about a month, maybe 6 weeks. I don't know off the top of my head, but it'll still be in Aries all the way through December. And Aries and Mars together does create conflict and war and impulsiveness and things like that. So that's kind of what's been going on, and that will continue. It going into retrograde could either make things more extreme, or it could make people take less action. I'm kind of getting the feeling that people are going to focus less on all the social issues that we've been dealing with, and people are going to start focusing a little bit more on their personal lives. So there might be some resistance from other people that want, to keep causes alive. And for some people who, want to focus a little bit more on their personal stuff. So it might be time to kind of like be a little bit more open about what people's priorities are. Like, yes, social issues are extremely important, but also like if someone's dealing directly with homelessness or the threat of homelessness, then they can't really be go out and protesting, and it's really not fair for somebody who has that type of stability to be expecting somebody who has less than them to go and be doing the same amount of actions that they are, if that makes sense. So just kind of like keep that in mind and kind of like check yourself on having these expectations for yourself and others that are beyond what they can actually deal with. Okay. Another thing I'll go over really quickly, because I'm going to be making full videos about this stuff anyways, is the full moon in Pisces. It'll be a very testing time, and this will be based on the other transits during the time. So I was talking a little bit about what the transits are, right? I also want to mention real quick, because I forgot, that Venus is in Cancer, so that has a lot to do with home and wanting to make your home a lot better and focusing on things like that. Venus is going to move into Leo next. So that's going to have to do with kind of like showing off your relationship a little bit more, putting more time into your relationship, and wanting people to just know you're really happy. So you're going to be getting a lot of stuff on social media. So if you're somebody who is going through a rough transitional period, like you just broke up with somebody and you don't really want to be seeing people in relationships a whole bunch, watch out for whenever Venus goes into Leo, because you're going to be seeing a lot of that. So just kind of like be aware and maybe do something else that's not social media, or like, you know, look only at your specific groups that you like and stuff like that, so that you're not being exposed to something that might be triggering to you or hurtful to you. Okay, so all of this information combined for the full moon in Pisces is going to kind of create like this dream-like idea of what we want life to be like, you know. So we've been working on ourselves while all these planets are in retrograde. We've all been trying to figure out like what we want in life, and things are drastically changing. We're in the age of Aquarius now, so being unique and individual and being more community mindset is becoming more and more prevalent. We can obviously see some resistance from other people because they're still trying to make us dependent on one big system, but we can't all work in one big system. We more need to work as a community with each other, helping, trading, things like that. And during this Pisces time, it's going to be kind of hard to put things actually like into action. So it's like you're going to have this idea of things that you want to do, and it's going to feel right and intuitive and things like that, but you're going to have a hard time actually like taking the action to make it happen. And with Mars in Aries, this will kind of like be combative with each other, because you know, Aries is all about action, and Pisces can actually be pretty indirect, you know. They're a little bit more like keeping things in their head, or having this imaginary like dream world where things work out a certain way that it isn't reality. So there's going to be a weird balance there of things that you're going to feel interested in, that you want to pursue, but you might be hesitant to actually take the actions. You might feel like it's something that can't really be a reality, or your expectations might be so high. Honestly, I feel for some of you guys that live under the influence of Pisces, like whether your sun or your moon or any like major placements in your chart, because Pisces is so like dreamlike, and they're so like afraid to actually express what it is that they want. They just live in their minds, you know, and then they never actually get what they want. They don't get the relationships they deserve. People don't understand them, and they don't realize that it's a wall they're putting up by not communicating. Pisces people like do not communicate what it is that they want, and many times they don't even understand it. Like you'll talk to somebody who's a Pisces who's going through pain right now, and they'll just say kind of vague things like, why can't anybody see how good I am? You know, or something like that, and then it's just like, what do you mean? And then they don't really have an explanation for what they're saying. They just feel like they're attempting to be good to get validation, and they're not getting the validation, and they're not understanding. So be patient with your Pisces friends, but also if you are a Pisces, really work on communicating. And this full moon will probably affect you very hard, you know, like it'll be really hard for you to take action right now. So maybe like make plans, like remind yourself of times when you did take action and you were successful, you know, things like that. So that'll just be something to keep in mind for my Pisces friends who are watching this. So let's get into the pick a card. I want you to go ahead and take your 3 deep breaths. Go ahead and center yourself. And I want you to look at the different cards and read the affirmations on the front of them. I would say that you can either use your intuition to allow you to choose what it is that you're looking for, or you can also go by what affirmation speaks the most to you right now, and then just pick that and follow your heart, if that makes sense. Okay, go ahead and skip ahead to where you need to be to get the full message. Okay, if you picked deck 1, then you chose, I trust myself in the process of life. Let's see if that, okay, cool. The moment I am willing to change, it is amazing how the universe brings me what I need. Okay, so that's perfect. It's a perfect message that we need for right now with Virgo season. We have to be able to trust ourselves and that things are going to work out, right? Okay, I'm gonna try something a little differently this time, you guys, because normally I will pull cards and put them down as I read them, but this time I'm thinking of kind of like just putting it all out and then telling you what I see as I see it and then reading and showing you the cards. So we're gonna do the reading a little bit differently this time, and we'll see how it works and how the connections go. So here in the center, I have good fortune. So this tells me that you guys in this deck are very lucky. I also have home and fire. So this tells me that for a lot of you guys, you have something inside of you that's sparking right now, and I feel like because you're stuck at home, it's kind of like limited on what it is that you can do. But you do have luck on your side. You also have, I feel like you've been like really struggling with being stuck at home for a while now, but I feel like you're getting some ideas on how you can start implementing more things into your daily life so that you don't feel so isolated while you're at home or bored or whatever it is that the issue is here. And I feel like this lucky energy is going to help you kind of like make new movements in your life whenever it comes to kind of creating a more fulfilling space. I have look at the bigger picture, full moon in Sagittarius over here with the home. So that tells me that for any ideas you're having when it comes to your home, try to look at the bigger picture of things. So figure out like what would be something long term that could be helpful, or something that could help in a lot of different ways, you know, so it's not just solving one problem, it's solving multiple problems. I also have a new romantic cycle begins, new moon in Libra. So for some of you guys, there's going to be something new romantic going on, and that could also be what this idea that you have, like this fiery spark that you have, is maybe something to charge up a relationship you're already in, or maybe you're kind of like starting a new relationship and you have the luck and the energy and the drive and the spark to kind of like start making something happen. And with Venus in Cancer, we are kind of like in the mood to make more moves that are like homey and stuff like that. And then with it going into Leo, it's going to make a lot of us a little bit more proud, if that makes sense, of the relationship that we're in, and that's going to impact our decisions. So up here above that, we have play is my pathway to joy. So since we were just talking about Leo, being playful is really important right now. You know, with everything going on, it's so difficult to find the joy in life. But whenever we allow ourselves to play, like do something creative, or like if you have kids, go and play with them, or like go on an adventure by yourself, or whatever it is that you want to do that is playful for you, it's very helpful for us to also process life, if that makes sense, because this positive energy gets influenced with our life path. So kind of allow yourself and your creative sparks to flow at this moment. Okay. I want to point out here that I just noticed is that we have 5 of Swords up here over by this play card. This card has to do with too much pride, like pride to the point of where it's hurting other people around you. And then I have the card again over here on the side. So this tells me that for some of you guys watching this, you really got to watch your pride, and you really got to watch and that playfulness is telling me that you need to not take yourself so seriously. You have to trust yourself and the process of life. So you can't just keep on pushing through and ignoring the signs that this isn't working, or the signs of resistance, you know. I'm also getting the message here too that with the 6 of Feathers, that you've been on this journey for a long time, and Spirit wants you to know that you're getting closer to the end. So don't feel like you have to charge forward so much, you know. And I have the Chariot center here. This is Cancer energy, and we were just talking about Venus and Cancer. So this is about charging forward and taking the initiative, and there's nothing wrong with taking the initiative, but there is something wrong with ignoring the resistance from the universe, if that makes sense. There's a difference between a challenge and an obstacle that you're meant to overcome, but whenever you're literally getting kicked down over and over and over again, that means that this is not the path for you. I have Daughter of Cups here, so that tells me it's important for you to remain open whenever it comes to relationships or new emotional prospects. So there's something emotionally that I really feel like Spirit is communicating with you right now, and it has to do with pride in something. So this is ego, right? So I get the feeling that this is something that you're meant to work on during this time. I bet the Virgo perfectionism will probably really be affecting you. So it'll be time right now to kind of like focus on that. I have King of Pentacles reversed. So that tells me not to overly splurge on things. Whenever I see the King of Pentacles reversed, that gives me an image of a person who buys everybody lunch even though they don't really have it. Somebody who goes on vacation and then they can't pay their rent, you know? So kind of like keep a better idea of what your finances are and don't go splurging. Also, avoid people who are like this as well, because you don't want to be in a situation where somebody paid for something you didn't ask them to, and then now they want you to pay them back in some way and you feel like you have to, right? So avoid people who are just like, it's okay to buy somebody like coffee or something like that, or even if they asked you to lunch and you don't have money and they buy you like a $12 meal, that's totally fine, you know? But whenever somebody's like offering to give you hundreds of dollars that could fix something for you, there's always a catch with people like that. People don't really just pay other people's rent unless they're family, you know? And even then, many times there's still things that are tied to it. So just kind of keep that in mind with like using material goods or resources as manipulation, okay? So just kind of like keep that in mind. It is safe and beautiful to express my sensuality. I feel like some of you guys are worried about being vulnerable, and that's a part of where that pride stuff is coming in too. So this is kind of a message from Spirit to allow yourself to feel sensual, allow yourself to feel calm, allow yourself to enjoy things, you know, and enjoy romance and love. If any of you are struggling, you know, with like sexual energy or whatever, if any of you guys are struggling with that, and you don't feel safe with another person, then just focus on being with yourself and being sensual with yourself and, you know, kind touches, things like that. And then if you are in a relationship with somebody, try to be more open about like what it is that you're feeling, and then give like suggestions for things that you could do instead, so that you don't feel as if you're being used or that your energy is being taken from you. Because I think a lot of us, especially women, feel that they have to kind of like let somebody take a part of themselves, and that's the exchange of sexual energy. But that's not really what it's about. It's about like having a strong connection, and you can have that connection in so many ways. People think that you can only have a connection in one way. Well, straight people at least, right? So just make sure to be open and be like, hey, this feels good for me, or this makes me feel relaxed, and I want to feel relaxed with you, and I want to feel safe. So just something to kind of like think about. And if you want to feel safe and relaxed and feel good with yourself, then try to see how you can do that for yourself. And then whenever you do have a new romantic partner in the future, you already have an idea of what it is that you like and what it is that makes you feel good about yourself. I don't know why I felt compelled to give a little sex ed talk at the end of this, but for some reason I did. I feel like some of you guys might suffer from past trauma, and it might affect the way that you communicate in that way. So I just wanted to kind of share some stuff that I've learned over the years, and so you guys can apply it to where you need to. All right, so that was my reading for group number 1. Leave a comment to let me know if it resonated, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. All right, if you picked group number 2, then you picked my inner world is peaceful. It is safe for me to look within each time I look deeper into myself. I will find incredibly beautiful treasures. That's really beautiful. And I feel like for a lot of us, that's something we need to work on for sure. Another thing that Virgos do a lot is they internalize. So I feel like a lot of us are going to be internalizing our emotions and not really understanding how to express them, especially with Mercury being in Virgo as well. We internalize emotions and don't know how to express them. A lot of people say that Virgos are cold, but they're actually very caring. They just don't know how to express themselves, so they can come off as cold, especially when they're feeling something emotionally. They really have to like go and be alone and process in their own way. And even then, they might never verbalize what it is that they're feeling. They're just going to go work on a project or do something that makes them feel soothing, and then they've worked through it, if that makes sense. I feel like that part about Virgos really frustrates specifically water and fire signs. So if you are a water sign, or you're water heavy in your chart, or you're fire heavy in your chart, be patient with your Virgo friends. I feel like I have a Virgo moon, and I feel like from those people in my life, there's always been kind of like this rush and this pressure to communicate feelings all the time. And it's like my emotional feeling that's myself isn't really affecting you, but they'll still act as if it's affecting them, because water people and fire people don't feel safe unless people are being direct and clear about their emotions with them. So just kind of like be patient with your friends because they just don't analyze their emotions in the same way. I can't analyze my emotions in that way. You know, I really have to like go and just like process and like create art or do something different that's mine. You know, because I also feel like if I'm always telling other people what my emotions are, I feel like they're taking them from me. And that's not fair. They're my emotions that I need to have, you know? I felt compelled to say that for some of you guys. And if you're a Virgo, maybe you can relate to the feeling of people trying to kind of like take your emotional energy away from you whenever like you need it to help you charge, you know? So don't feel like you have to tell people what's going on with you. Just draw a boundary there and be like, hey, I just need time, you know? And also with some people too, you kind of have to tell them, hey, I'm not ever going to tell you what's bothering me right now because it has nothing to do with you, you know? And sometimes that can be difficult, especially somebody with a water moon is going to struggle with that boundary. But that's what you got to do for yourself. So just something to keep in mind. Okay, I told the last group this, but I'm going to, you know, just go ahead and reiterate it because I'm assuming you didn't watch the first group's message. So what I'm going to be doing differently now is normally I'll pull out each card and kind of like talk about it and explain it and then place it out into a spread. But I'm just going to go ahead and put the spread out now and then just kind of tell you what I'm feeling and what I'm seeing, and then I'll show you the cards as I go. I feel like that just helps better overall with the connection of the message. I'll go ahead and tell you something really positive that I'm seeing right away, is that in the center here, beneath the card, my inner world is peaceful, I have abundance. And then up at the top, I have 10 of Cups. So this tells me that whenever your inner world is peaceful, you're going to connect better with your family, with the 10 of Cups and friends and things like that, and you're going to have abundance. So it's really important for you to do that internal work. That's probably why I felt compelled to go kind of on that little bit of a rant earlier. It's going to be really important for you to figure out what's going on with you internally and kind of like have peace with that. And that'll lead to more fulfilling relationships, if that makes sense. Over here by abundance, we have humility. And this is just kind of a reminder to stay humble sometimes. You know, you can see that there's sheep. That's kind of a reminder that we are social animals and that we live in a society. So I was kind of saying earlier in the video about how we're learning how to live more as a collective, like locally. And I truly get the feeling that all of us depending on one big overall system isn't working. And I don't think that it will work because it's not personal enough. I feel like we really need like thriving communities where everybody trades with each other and all of our money isn't going to just one big source, you know, and then that person keeping the money because that's an imbalance in the universe. We need to have more local exchanges. So that's kind of a reminder to kind of like be humble whenever it comes to talking about the issues that are going on right now in the United States. People, or probably all over the world actually, it seems like there's distress everywhere, but kind of this idea of believing that there are certain people that deserve to live a higher existence than the rest of us. Everybody else has to fight over basic necessities, but there are a few people that are using money to hurt others, if that makes sense. They're using their power. I don't want to get too into it, but you guys know what I mean, like the deep, dark, mysterious, hurtful things that people in power and people with a lot of money do. So that card is just a reminder to be like kind of humble and think about that whenever you're communicating with the people around you in your community. Like think about how much people are fighting over basic resources, and think a little bit too about like what people are trying to do to meet their needs, you know? It's hard for people to go into higher consciousness whenever we're still struggling to meet our basic needs. So have patience for those whose egos are high because they are struggling, you know? Somebody without a home or you know, consistent access to food or things like that, those people, their egos are going to be higher. And whenever your ego is very high, you start wanting to numb it with things. So people who are struggling really rough are going to be more likely to get addicted to drugs or start drinking or things like that. And it's kind of like an opportunity to feel kind of humble that you are not in that current situation, and try not to judge people who are in that situation. We have Supermoon over here too, which is emotions are running high. So I feel like you might be feeling emotionally and having reactions to the people around you. I feel like I was compelled to say all that stuff about people who are struggling because I get the feeling that you might not be feeling very understanding or empathetic of people at this moment. I get the idea that you might be feeling kind of like, well, I struggle, but I'm able to meet my needs, or I'm able to still be a good person, or whatever it is that you think makes you higher than other people, which is of course our ego. So maybe like take count in that and understand that, try to understand where that thought is coming from. Why do you feel the need to judge others? Is it because you feel like you were judged? Something to think about. We have strength over here, and a new start is coming. This tells me that the strength that you have been kind of developing lately will be a part of what will help you into this new moon. I'm betting that high emotional feeling that you're feeling right now is leading you to this new start. I feel like you're meant to confront something. I feel like you're meant to do shadow work right now. And I'm getting the feeling that it has to do with judgments. So there's something about yourself that you are judging, and there's something that you're judging in other people. So maybe do the shadow work right now to figure out like where that's coming from, and recognize that what you've gone through has made you stronger. And just because other people haven't gone through it doesn't necessarily make them weak. It just means that they're not on the path you are, or they're not at the same part of the path that you are. We all have to start from somewhere, right? So recognizing this and doing that shadow work will create a new path for you at this time. I totally forgot that this was right here, but literally I was just talking about judgments, and the judgment card is here. So releasing judgment. And also on the other side, mirroring that, we have justice. So this is to confront the idea of justice as well, and like what is right and wrong. And I feel like you're having to recognize somewhere right now that you need to meet in the middle. Like the truth is always in the middle. It's not necessarily people are right or wrong. It's that the truth is somewhere in the middle. Everybody thinks they're right. They wouldn't defend themselves so intensely if they didn't think that they were right, you know? Even when they're wrong. So that's just something to kind of like think about here. We have I meet resistance with kindness. So whenever you feel like you're getting resistance from the universe, Spirit is asking you to still be kind with others. I get the feeling that you might compare yourself to others a lot. Like if somebody's succeeding, you might be the type to be like, wow, how come it's happening for them and it's not happening for me? You know, and that type of thinking does not serve you. That's thinking in the idea of justice, right? Like how come, like I want justice. I'm the one who's doing all these things. Why is it not happening for me? Like try to get out of that thinking. That's going to be part of your shadow work during this Virgo season. We are all sisters and reflect the divine in one another. So try not to tear other people down. Try not to separate yourself from others or compare. And that's over here with this judgment card, so releasing the judgment. Okay, some of the cards we have over here is, it's all air energy. So this is kind of like go with the flow, think of things from a different perspective, stuff like that. So if you're an air sign, this is just like you working on yourself. If you don't have very much air in your chart, then this is going to be difficult for you, because it's going to be, if you're mostly earth, then it's kind of hard to not stay grounded. If you're mostly water, it's hard to not like let your emotions lead you. If you're mostly fire, kind of same thing about the emotions, but more like creative spark type of emotions, not like intuition. So air is more about like speaking and communicating and learning and things like that. So that might be an area that you're going to have to kind of like work on right here. We also have the mediatrix. So this tells me that this is about like finding balance. This is the temperance card for this deck. So this tells me that there's a balance in your life that you need to make. There's something that's out of balance. And with the 7 of feathers, the 9 of feathers, and the Father of feathers, that's me getting messages like literally all around about boundaries and ego. I'm getting major messages of ego in this whole spread. If you notice, it's come up so much. So you have to do ego work right now. Like this is definitely the time for you to do it. But the 7 of feathers kind of has to do with like thinking and worrying about what other people think about us. I get the feeling that that's what a lot of your worry is right now. Like maybe you're so worried about what other people think that's why you're passing judgment on others, is because you kind of want to be the first one. Like you don't want somebody to like catch you messing up, so you want to be the one to catch them type of energy. And then the Father of feathers is definitely about ego, but this is also about speaking from an intellectual point of view. And this is also about not looking down on others. Like, don't let the idea that you are a more intellectual person or that you think that you're higher than other people affect the way that you treat other people, because that is karma that comes back to you. So be more conscious of your communication with the people around you and ask yourself, am I talking down to them? Am I being condescending? Like, try to figure out like what exactly it is that you are communicating. And then I also see here, this is like a really rough period. Like, this is like restlessness, worry, and being unable to sleep. So that tells me right there that I feel like this period you're going through is not helpful for you, and that might be where the ego's coming from. Like, you might be like in a really tough spot, and because of this might be making you judge other people because you're like, wow, things are working out for them, but it's not working out for me, and stuff like that. And that's not really the energy you need, you know? You don't want to put more bad energy out. You want to bring good energy in. So a way of doing that could be counting your blessings. It really does help whenever you feel blessed and you feel like there are good things coming into your life, more things will come. Obviously, that doesn't last forever. We don't always feel that way. It's something active that we have to keep doing because we do focus on the negative, especially if you grew up in a negative household. So that's just something to think about. So your homework assignment for Virgo season is to work on bringing peace to your inner self. Okay, what you're feeling right now is only temporary. So try to do the work to kind of like accept yourself more, accept other people, worry less about other people's judgments, and it'll help you have more compassion for yourself and others. Compassion is contagious. Once you start experiencing it and feeling it for other people, then it'll start, or for yourself, then it'll start reflecting into other people. And then people will feel compassion for you and want to be around you and want to share with you, and you'll start feeling more successful and blessed in your life. So it has to start with letting go of judgments, and then you will be free. Okay, if that resonated, please leave a comment to let me know, and I will see you next time. Good luck. Hello, group 3. You picked, I am part of the harmonious whole, as we all are. I know I am one with all life. I am the beauty and joy of the universe, expressing and receiving. That is a beautiful message, and it's about harmony and balance, and that's definitely something that we're going to have to focus on during Virgo season. There's going to be a lot of energy about having expectations be extremely high, so that'll be something to look out for. Normally I pull out each card and we'll show it to you and add it to a spread as I go, but this time I'm going to just put the spread out, so give me a second. I'll fast forward, but as soon as those cards are out, then we'll start reading our messages. Okay, something that is showing up so far is right here in the center we have the World. And so this is telling me that you do have lots of opportunity. You do have the world in a way, if that makes sense. Like, you have like plenty of energy and plenty of charge to like go and get what you want. And then it's right next to Rise, and right next to that is New Moon in Gemini, which is communication is key. I'll go ahead and show you these as I explain them. But the World is also about like feeling that we're a part of something bigger than ourselves. So that's something to think about too. Here's Rise. But the message I'm getting here is that with communication being key, I feel like communication is key for you to rise up right now. Like, I feel like you're in a really good place emotionally, so it's possible for you to be able to communicate yourself very clearly. So maybe like what's going on in your chart is very favorable with what's happening right now. Like, maybe you have Virgo in your chart or something like that, and maybe Mercury and the Sun being in Virgo works with you together. Whatever it is that's going on, it's helping you be able to communicate with people more directly. We have wildness over here, and we also have step out of your comfort zone. So this is telling me right now that it's going to be important for you to embrace whatever it is that your North Node is, and kind of just like be a part of your true self right now. Up here above, we have Three of Wands, and this tells me that there's something in your life that you've started kind of putting the foundation into. Like, you've been putting in the work, and now you're starting to see a little bit of the rewards coming your way. But I also have Four of Cups here, and this tells me that you might be disappointed right now. And maybe you feel like people are using you emotionally way too much, and you're tired of it. Like, you don't want to do emotional labor for others, and you really don't have to. So it's, you know, kind of like taking that time away from other people to get your energy back so that you don't feel like you have to cater to them in some way. And over here I have, I love myself completely and unconditionally. So that's kind of a reminder too to put yourself first whenever you're feeling it. Like you're feeling like you're not connected with yourself, or that you might be a slave to other people's emotions. So that's a good time to kind of like disconnect and be distant a little bit, to kind of like find your ground self again, so you're not like being influenced by other people. I have Nine of Cups reversed, which tells me again that you're not putting yourself first. You're not treating yourself, and you've like done so much of the work to get to where you are now, so it's important for you to do that. I also have my inner compass knows the way. So you have to reach more into your intuition right now, and I get the feeling that you're going to get that by looking into your North Node stuff, is what I'm getting. I have Ace of Cups over here, which tells me that you are open to a new emotional venture, or maybe even a new relationship, but there's something emotionally that you've opened yourself back up for, and I think that it might be time. I think that, okay, if it's healthy and it feels good, yes, pursue it. But I feel like for some of you guys in particular, I think the new emotional journey needs to be within right now. Because relationships can always come later. We don't need a relationship right now, you know, or like at any certain amount of time. We don't need a relationship. Who we need to be close with is ourselves. If you're in a relationship and you don't feel one with yourself at all, the relationship will suffer and could probably end, you know? So that's why it's important to invest in yourself whenever the universe is kind of giving you the sign that you need to do that. I have renewal here too. So this tells me that it's time for you to release any judgments that you might be having about yourself. Yeah, I see that you might be judging yourself, and you might be worried about what other people think about you, or maybe you're even judging others, and now is not a time where that serves you. So it might be important for you to right now to kind of release those judgments and put yourself first, and kind of like add a little bit more self-care in for you during Virgo season. And we have the Crone over here too, and this is actually the Virgo card, so this is about isolating in a way that is positive, so you can be introspective about what's going on with you. So that's what I have for you for Virgo season, is to kind of like be a little bit more, allow yourself to be a little bit more isolated so that you can get more in tune with who you are and listen to your inner compass and feel more like intuitive. And if you need to communicate what exactly it is that you need from other people and yourself, that's going to be the most important tool for you during this time. Okay, so I feel like this reading went by really fast, but I feel like it was also like extremely direct. You know, I get the feeling that you probably are Virgo, or if not, that you still at least need to be introspective, spend some time in isolation, and the relationships will come. Don't be so worried about being alone, because you are your own friend, you know? And if you don't feel that way, or if you feel like that's lame, that's judgment, you know? You're with yourself every second of every day. You are like the number one person you can depend on for yourself. You will always show up for yourself, you know? So make sure that you're putting yourself first, because you're your own homie, you know? So yeah, that's the message I have for you. Please leave a comment to let me know if it resonated, and I will see you next time. Good luck, and try to use this time for as much growth as possible so you can feel more harmonious with yourself and others. Let it be a transformation for you. Okay, if you picked number 4, then you chose, I affirm that I am totally willing to freely forgive everyone. I release from within me all bitterness and resentment. I let go of old hurts and forgive everyone, including myself. Okay, I particularly, because all the other decks I picked out intuitively, but this one I particularly saw this card, was attracted to it, and I wanted to do it. I still let myself intuitively pick the other ones, but then whenever it came to the last card, I didn't like the last card that popped up based on the system I was using. And then this card was literally on another stack, like right there, and I was like, I'm just going to use this one. And I'm going to use this as a fact that this deck is also for me. So we're going to be reading for kind of the same thing right now. I struggle in general with forgiving myself, so I feel like that's kind of what's going to be a big part of it here. I've been working on it for a really long time. I've been doing internal work for about 8 years, but like forgiving other people and forgiving myself, I'm a Virgo moon, so it's like Okay, I'm doing the cards differently this time. Normally, I would pull each card out and show you and then like kind of create a spread out in front of me as I do it. But this time what I'm doing is I'm just putting the spread out and then making connections as I see them and as I go, which is with the flow. So the number one thing I see here down at the bottom is blind. So this tells me that there's something in your life that you are feeling blind towards. So there's something you're just refusing to see. And I'm getting the feeling that it does have to do with forgiveness. So there might be something that I get the feeling that there's actually like more like mysterious things that you didn't know what was happening at the time, and that you might have been blind to it, and now that you're moving on, it's kind of hard to process that stuff because you had been so blind. So that might be something to work on. I have balance here as well, and then I have don't let pride get in your way. Here, I didn't show you the blind card. And then here's balance. So this is finding a balance between like being confident or being confident in yourself or having too much pride with that full moon and Leo card. So finding the balance between believing in yourself or being too prideful. I feel like a big thing for me, because I have Scorpio rising, is sometimes whenever somebody makes me mad and I don't want them in my life anymore, I'm just like straight up like I won't talk to them anymore, you know? And I've heard that Virgos are actually, and Taurus, those are my big three, they're all like that. They just like won't, they're not going to explain it to you what you did, because from their perspective you know what you did, so they're not really going to explain it. And I feel like that can be a situation in some instances where it's too much pride to actually like let people in. We have journey over here, so some of us are on a journey right now. And I also have nothing will come of this situation. So whatever that current journey is that you feel like you're going on, it's like void of course moon here. It's not really serving you. So there might be something that you're spending a lot of time thinking about or focusing on, and it's just not serving you anymore. So I think it's time to let it go. Up above we have Page of Pentacles. So this tells me that you're learning something new and studying something that has to do with your finances or earthly, possessions. And kind of like allowing it to move you forward with your career. I also have Ace of Cups, so this is like being open to a new emotional venture or like a new relationship. And it's also with, I trust the change unfolding in my life. Okay, so being open to opportunities and open to change. And this has to do with emotional stuff too. So if we're working on forgiveness, then that is something new emotionally that we're working on. If you have unhealthy attachments, then that's something to kind of work on. So that can be something new emotionally that you're kind of like allowing into your life and trusting the fact that you are able to forgive yourself and others. That might be a new emotional thing for you to be working on. I have Nine of Swords over here. I honestly kind of get happy whenever this card shows up for me, because what this is telling me is that everything I've been stressing over and like losing sleep over and things like that, which I've definitely been feeling that lately, is coming to an end. So that, makes me excited, because it's like there's something new that we're learning. We're opening ourselves up emotionally. We're allowing forgiveness into our lives, maybe in a new way you hadn't thought about, because that could be part of the message too, is maybe you just didn't perceive forgiveness to be this way, and then now you're putting the time and effort into making it a reality. And it could be making you stressed and worried, and you could be like not really focusing on what you need to be focusing on because you're so worried about what's going to happen in the future. I welcome clear vision and inspired action. So be clear about what it is that you want, and then take the actions to make it a reality. So if you're avoiding doing things that could change what's happening for you, then that's not you having a clear vision, and that's not you taking action, right? You guys, sometimes I have to take a moment to just breathe. Like, whenever I'm talking, I won't be breathing properly, and whenever I'm making these videos, I get like an hour in, and I start just being like, so if things skip ahead, it might be me just literally just taking a breath. But okay, we have Ace of Coins here. So this tells me that we had Ace of Cups and Ace of Coins. So this tells me that something with your life, whenever it comes to financial or your home or your family or something like that, something earthly, your health, I feel like you're getting the first starts into something new. So that's awesome, because it's like you're opening yourself up emotionally, and then you're opening yourself up to opportunities, success, gaining new things, And so if you see an opportunity that feels right for you, then maybe go for it. You know, that's the message I'm getting here. I have 4 of Flames. And this is kind of a message actually to relax and have fun with your friends and be more celebratory about like where you are currently, you know, like see more blessings in your life and allow bliss in, if that makes sense. And then I have Son of Feathers over here, and this is about taking charge and going forward. Kind of like taking the initiative and being the one who's brave enough to actually take your idea and make it a reality. So if there's something that you've been doing that you just feel isn't serving you, then yeah, it would be important to kind of like move away from that thing. I'm trying to think in my head of what it is for me. I have an idea, but I'm just not 100% sure. And yeah, allow new opportunities in for yourself and trust that where you're changing and where you're going is what's meant for you. So just kind of keep that in mind and don't let your pride hurt you or keep you from moving forward. Okay, if that resonated, please leave a comment to let me know. And I will see you next time. Good luck during Virgo season. Thanks.